Hey there, guys. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. I'm Brad.
I'm Braden.
And this week's edition comes from the October 1992 The Wrestler. In this interview, it is the Q&A with the man called Sting. Braden will play the part of the interviewer as I do Sting. It says each month the wrestler will present a question and answer form with an important figure in the wrestling world. It's your chance to meet wrestling's biggest stars as they answer the questions uppermost in the fans' mind. There might not be a more difficult job in the world than being WCW World Heavyweight Champion, especially if, like Sting, you're a fan favorite. With the Dangerous Alliance always lurking, seriously, injury is always a possibility. The belt is never safe. It's always under attack. But somehow Sting has survived his first 6 months in his second reign as WCW World Champion. He had to deal with the after effects of 2 serious injuries, a fractured left patella tendon in 1990 and busted ribs at the hands of Big Van Vader. But the belt is still wrapped securely around Sting's waist. There's no secret to Sting's success. With hard work and perseverance, he overcomes the odds and gained everyone's respect. He's also gained the valuable friendship of Nikita Koloff, who recently turned down an offer to join the Dangerous Alliance. Sting was touched. With so many challengers put aside, so many challenges will await the ever-popular Sting. There are wrestlers to be wrestled, issues to be dealt with, and the all-important job of being champion to carry out. Still, Sting found time in his busy schedule to talk with senior writer Dave Rosenbaum.
Sting, the first thing I want to touch upon is not any of your recent matches, but your attitude. I think what's the most noteworthy about you as WCW World Champion is the pride you take in the entire federation. You're not in it for yourself. You're in it for everyone. Fan favorites, rule breakers, and of course, the fans.
Well, I don't think that should come as any surprise, especially to a professional like yourself. Let me put it this way, Dave. As a wrestling writer, you take pride in yourself's own work, correct?
Of course.
But you also take pride in the magazines that you work for. And of course, that means everyone has to give their best, correct?
Sure, it's called teamwork.
Well, I'm not sure it's teamwork, but it's everybody working together for the common good, which of course leads back to the individual good. If this federation isn't special, then its champion isn't special. I try to act as properly as possible and set a good example. I'm the champ. In your world, I'd be the editor.
Well put, Sting. And is there anything about your world that's bothering you right now?
There can always be improvements. I totally disagree with the way the Dangerous Alliance goes about its business. I think Cactus Jack should be put away somewhere so that the rest of us are safe. But the Federation is pretty hot right now, and I think the fans are getting their money's worth. That's what this is all about. You know, the fans getting their money's worth. That's what we do this for. Without them, we're nothing.
Sure, but a lot of people don't see it that way. Without the fans, there's no money to pay your salary. There's nobody to buy our magazines. And of course, when the superstar of a federation is sidelined, it takes away from everybody's pockets. I guess the Dangerous Alliance hasn't realized that.
That's because Dangerous Alliance can't think so far ahead. Heck, they can barely see their own noses. When Lex Luger and Medusa injured me before my U.S. title match against Rick Rude, that was Bush. It was deprive the fans of what they wanted to see. When Vader cracked my ribs a few weeks before Wrestle War, I have no doubt that was on purpose, and it also deprived the fans.
You know this subject is kind of interesting because there's been similar talk in National Hockey League. Some of the sport's greatest superstars, such as Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, have complained about the excessive violence in the sport. Lemieux has talked about quitting because of it, which would deprive the fans of seeing a great player. That would have a devastating effect on the league.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm not even thinking about quitting. When my opponents get me thinking that way, then they'll really be in trouble. But I can see where Mario and Wayne are coming from. This is a sport. It's not who can injure who.
Injuring an opponent is easy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's the easiest thing in the world. a hard knee to the groin, a sleeper hold held a little too long. Any one of the number of things could end somebody's career or at least take the guy out for months. Being vicious is easy. Being an efficient and effective wrestler is difficult.
Are you mad about the injuries?
Mad? Yeah, I'm a little angry. I've always tried to act right and give people chances, and then they go and take advantage. Listen, there's no way I can take on everyone in the Dangerous Alliance at once. There's just too many of them. But then they go and cackle and boast, and because they sent me to the hospital, well, congratulations, guys. And how about Vader? He didn't know I was injured. That's a load of bull because a fan wrote to me and told me he could hear the crack from 30 rows away. Vader knew what he was doing.
But the competition gets more and more dangerous. You're a few days from wrestling Cactus Jack at Beach Brawl. And that won't be too easy either.
No, it won't. But it's just part of being champion. Heck, you think Ric Flair had it easy? You think it was easy wrestling all those matches against Steamboat and Luger? No way. Being a champion is hard work, but it's also very rewarding and a lot of fun too. I wouldn't give it up for the world.
Obviously, and I guess another thing you wouldn't give up for the world is your friendship with Nikita Koloff.
Hey, Nikita's a great man and a great wrestler. I knew the second part when I was involved in that feud with him last year. And now I know the first part. The Dangerous Alliance really tested him. They waved a lot of money in front of his face, but Nikita turned it down. You know, a few hours after that, he called me on the phone and said, "Buddy, I hope you weren't worried." Well, yeah, I was worried, but not anymore. I know who my friends are.
And that's certainly not easy in this sport, is it?
Sometimes it's close to impossible, especially when you've got the belt. But if Nikita wants a title shot, he can have one. He deserves it. And I wouldn't turn around and get mad at him for asking for one. Hey, when I was a kid growing up, I used to play stickball and basketball with all my friends. I wanted to beat them, but that didn't make them my enemies.
How strong is your friendship with Nikita?
Very strong.
Like your friendship with Lex Luger?
Let's not talk about that. That's history.
And teaming with Nikita, that's something you enjoy.
It's a learning experience for both of us. As you know, we're both better singles wrestlers, so teaming together gives us a chance to work on some things.
So what's next for you after Cactus Jack?
Well, there's Cactus Jack, but then there's a whole bunch of challengers awaiting for me. Rude wants my belt. Well, bucko, come and get it. Steve Austin is rising quickly. I think he's only a few wins away from a title contention. A lot of the top 10 guys, like Ron Simmons, are fan favorites, which is great. But if the officials want me in there against them, I have no choice but to meet them.
So it's open season on Sting.
Not exactly. If people want to wrestle me fairly, that's fine. But I think it's time for WCW to crack down on the blatant attempts to injure. It isn't good for anyone. I think the new top man, Bill Watts, will help greatly there.
Well said, Sting, and thank you for your time.
No problem, Dave. I guess I wanted to get some things off of my chest, and this was the perfect opportunity. It was my pleasure. So there we go, guys. That is this week's edition of Bedtime Stories with Brad and Braden from the Wrestler magazine from October 1992. You can check us out over at onewrestlingvideo.com and on our own YouTube channels, Brad's Collection and
Braden's Toy Show.
There we go, guys. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.